Hello.
You know what? Yes, sir. Let's begin with the session.
Yes, sir.
ನಿನ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊ.
Yes.
ಲೈವ್
Welcome to all for this
ಲೈವ್ ಫೋಟೋ ಯಾಕೆ ಹಾಕತ್ತೀವಿ? ಎಸ್.
Yes, welcome to all for this national level webinar on how to restart economy after COVID-19 organized by Department of Economics. Presently, each and every economies are facing the problems in a different sectors. The chief economic advisor to the government of India said that the drop is mainly due to the coronavirus pandemic effects on the Indian economy. And same time, the World Bank said that the current pandemic has magnified pre-existing risk to Indian economics outlook. So in this context, we organized one-day national level webinar on how to restart economy after COVID-19. So now I request to our beloved principal, Professor U.R. Rajput sir, to kindly deliver the welcome speech. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mayur. Good afternoon, everybody. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to our prestigious KLA Society's Baso Prabhu Kore Arts, Science and Commerce College, Chikkodi. The Department of Economics of our college has organized a national level seminar on how to restart economy after COVID-19. For this, I welcome today's resource person, Dr. Vijay Kakade, Professor of Economics, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I also welcome all registered delegates to this 18th webinar series of our college. Welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor J.S. Head of Department of Economics to introduce today's chief guest. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Respected today's chief guest, Dr. V.B. Kakade, Department of Economics, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Respected our beloved principal, U.R. Rajput, sir, and IQAC coordinator, Dr. B.G. Kulkarni, sir. Dear registered delegates across the country, and my dear friends, I am J.S. Borangevar, HOD of Economics, ALE Society, BK College, Chikkodi. I am extremely honored to introduce the resource person, Dr. V.B. Kakade, Professor of Economics, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. He is a renowned academician, but in brief, I will make an effort to introduce in brief. He has passed MA, MPhil, PhD from Shivaji University, Kolhapur, and MBA from Nashik. Under his able guidance, 11 students have received MPhil degree and 9 students have received PhD degree. At present, 3 students are pursuing from PhD and 3 students for MPhil. He began his teaching careers as lecturer in 1984 at VN College, Siron. Joined Shivaji University, Kolhapur in 1997. In between, he has also worked as principal of Nemchand College of Commerce, Solapur from 2008 to 2010. Since 2012, he is working as Professor of Economics at Shivaji University, Kolhapur. He has a 48 research publications to his credit. He has worked as resource person for training on financial literacy at Security and Exchange Board of India. He has delivered several lectures and written various articles in newspapers on current economic issues. He is associated with the several teachers associations. He is a life member of the several academic organizations, including Indian Economic Association. He has worked as state member Shivaji University, Kolhapur. He is a recipient of the several awards like Best Research Paper, Best Textbooks, Best Reference Book, Rotary Award for Social Contribution. He has written 15 popular books for the benefit of students. He has worked in 17 different consultancy projects, social impact analysis and third-party valuation worth rupees 34 lakhs. Presently, he is handling UGC-sponsored major research project worth rupees 3.15 lakhs. He has participated in several national and international conferences as a resource person and organized several research workshops. Visited several countries including the Singapore and Malaysia. Thank you everyone.
Thank, thank you, sir. Now I request to today's resource person, Dr. V.B. Kakade, to speak on a vital issue regarding the how to restart economy after COVID-19. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to everyone. It's my pleasure that I'm sharing my views on how to restart the economy with the pandemic situation. Basically, I congratulate the KLE Society BK College Chikodi for organizing this webinar on a vital issue. And I appreciate the effort taken by Mayur in organizing secretary and his friend SS Madan in organizing this webinar. And I congratulate again for the college for organizing more than 18 webinars on the vital issues. Friends, India not only our country, but the entire world is passing through a very serious pandemic. The coronavirus or Corona-19 has spread like a wildfire, and now it has taken a very heavy toll of mankind. Now it is the question of saving the lives and saving the livelihood. The two issues are very vital. And so if you look at the genesis of the problem, it was manufactured, or it is a kind of a bioweapon that was prepared by China, and in Wuhan, accidentally or purposely, the virus was given a spread, and later on with the transport of aircraft passengers, and then it went to all the countries together, and USA, Brazil, and India are now paying very heavy toll in terms of losing the human lives as such. In fact, it is a mixture of SARS and Ebola, and that has made more dangerous. Friends, kindly note that one has more than 1,500 such viruses which are stored in their lab. This virus has now making a pandemic impact on the economy in terms of taking the heavy tolls of the people. And secondly, and more importantly, the entire world economy has brought to stagnation. The GDP, world GDP is declining. In fact, in terms of Indian economy, if we look at the impact as such, we have lost more lives and we have lost the economy also. Basically, we started fighting with this corona. The usual weapon that was started in Wuhan, that is the lockdown. India started its lockdown after a long period. And now the entire lockdown that is being experienced in multi-stages has affected our lives and livelihoods. And hence, if you look at the beginning of the lockdown, we started on 24th March. Before that, we had a public curfew on 22. But when we started on 24th of the March, it was a sudden announcement made by our Honorable Prime Minister that we are going for lockdown for 21 days. Otherwise, we'll go back 21 years. This was the fear that was expressed by Honorable Prime Minister. And it was accepted by all that yes, in order to fight this pandemic, it is essential that we should go for the lockdown. Friends, lockdown is not the measure. It is a kind of a stopgap arrangement. It is a pause. Within the lockdown, what we can do or how we can improvise our entire medical facilities, that is the issue with the lockdown. Unfortunately, We extended lockdown again and again, and we halted all the economic activities together. And now we are having more than 4 months of lockdown where the entire economy has gone to zero, or the economy is suffering a great loss in terms of loss of employment, in terms of loss of income, and apart from economic impacts, the corona has made various social and psychological impacts also. So the question is, a vital question is how we can restart the economy, how we can come out of the woods, how we can come out of the problems. And this is very serious issue. Friends, after the lockdown, the government was very well known with the fact that various sectors, various segments are going to be affected by the lockdown. And so some measures were taken by the government to restart and to protect the lives and livelihoods of the people. Government has announced initially 1.70 lakh crores for the working class and for the poorer section as such. The government has later on came up with a very big scheme or a big dose, a big package of 20 lakh crores, which has been announced in five, which was explained later on by Honorable Finance Minister in 5 different stages. But if you look at the package itself is the restarting the economy by uh, putting heavy money in the economy. That was expected. In fact, such heavy doses were given by other countries also. In England, in USA, more than 4% of the national income was given as the dose or as a basic input for restarting the economy. In the Indian context, we have made the beginning. In the initial stage, we have given 1.70 lakh crores, and later on, the announcement of 20 lakh crores to boost the economy, to boost the agricultural sector, to boost the industrial sector, and especially the small scale industries, and giving the job to the people who went back to their home after the close down or after the lockdown was the initial step that was taken by the government. And in order to start the industries or small units in their own villages, government has announced that they will be given some seed capital, and those people who are being affected by the corona and the lockdown were given subsidized food, and later on free food grains were given. The government tried to reduce the negative impact on the poorer sections of the economy to a great extent. This was the effort that was very much required. But unfortunately, the COVID spread in a larger and larger extent. Now it is reaching to the rural economy also. And now we observe that there is no end, there is no peak to COVID yet. So what the second message was given is that along with the lives, livelihoods matters. And for saving the livelihoods, government has come up with various provisions. It has given encouragement to the small and medium enterprises. It has started to pump up the money via reduction in the interest rate. This is what we call monetary policy. Those who have taken loans or those who have taken the advances were given a moratorium period, and this moratorium period helped them to come up with some kind of a resources. The government has made the announcement that retrenchment should not be followed by the industry. But later on, the retrenchment started in various sectors. In fact, the government also started to reduce the number of workers in the state organizations as such. And now the serious question is when the vaccine will come, when the corona will end. These are the medical questions. But more importantly, how the life of the common man, how the life of all the people will come on the proper track. This is what I say, how we can reboot the economy, how we can restart the economy. This is a very gigantic task. In fact, we stop the economy. Economy is not like a machine which can be stopped immediately and restarted immediately. No, it is not possible. It requires step-by-step actions. And that's why a detailed program, a wider policy framework, a macro level as well as a micro level framework is very much essential. We can take some lessons from other countries also. We can take the lessons from the history also. In earlier period also, we have experienced such kind of a pandemic situations. The world has experienced the Great Depression of 1929. And later on, how to fight with such a pandemic situations, Lord Keynes has given a very important measure, that government should come forward. Government should announce bold measures and give the confidence to the industry, confidence to the people. This is the first basic task of any government, that it has to say that don't worry, we are there, we are going to help out you. And this kind of a confidence, yes, Indian government also made the beginning with giving the confidence, but yet we have to restart, we have to pump up the economy in a great way. And that is what I say, that the next program for rebooting the economy, where each and everyone needs to contribute in his own way. And how to restart the economy? So we have to look at where we have a very serious issue. The first and most important serious issue I see in restarting the economy is re-employing the people. People have lost their jobs. People who are working in various metropolitan cities now return back to their home, back to their villages. Now, there is one option that we can call back them to the industry, but when they were called back and how they can be given the job, that is a big issue. For that, the government has started reskilling, that the new skill must be given to the people. And for that, the IITs, the ITIs, all are making their efforts to provide a new skill to our workers. The second option is that these workers who went back to their villages, they can get some job, some work in their own villages, and they can start their own business. That is also another option. But starting the job or starting giving the employment on large scale, we have a national scheme, that is Mahatma Gandhi National Employment Guarantee Scheme, that is the Manrega, in which the government has made announcement that the daily wages from 180 rupees to 200 rupees, that is the announcement that has been made, and the allotment of the money for this scheme has been enhanced substantially. So the government is now making effort to re-employ the workers. Now the employment guarantee scheme, which is restricted to the rural area, needs to be extended to the urban area also. So that is one way measure that can be adopted. Very recently, Honorable Tata, the very famous industry from India, has said that the government should not reduce the job, or job reduction is not the alternative for fighting with the pandemic. Friends, this should be taken by every industrialist, that our workers are in the need of job. We should provide them a helping hand. And in that perspective, the first thing that government should do, that wherever and whenever it is possible, they should employ the people, the youth, so that the income generation process starts. Friends, when the income is generated, it is not stored in the cupboards, it is again brought in the market. So when a person gets a job, he gets income, he spends it on various goods and services. Then the demand for those goods and services increases, and a virtuous circle that starts. The vicious circle is broken down, and the virtuous circle starts. That again gets a job. Suppose I get income. I go to the market, I purchase vegetables, I purchase clothes, I take a cup of tea also. That gives a job to many people. So starting the job means restarting the economy. And for that, we have to pump up the money directly. Because of the pandemic, the entire supply chain has been disturbed. So restarting the economy requires restoring the supply chain immediately and urgently. The supply chain includes the transportation facilities. So rails are stopped, roads are also blocked. And so we have to restart by restarting the rail. Again, the transport service also required to be improved. And yes, hello, hello, hello.
Sir, continue, sir.
Okay, thank you. So the supply chain economy, the supply chain system which is disturbed needs to be restored properly. And our rails which are stopped needs to be restarted. Now we have started the international airlines. Now the domestic airlines also started with various precautions. Friends, the pandemic that at the individual level we are fighting by using the sanitization, by using the mask, and by keeping the safe distance. These three SMS needs to be maintained when we are rebooting the economy. This is needed at the personal level. But when we restart the economy, how jobs are created and maintained, that is the vital issue. And for creating and maintaining the job, the income should be protected. And for protecting the income, we have to adopt various novel as well as the measures which are going to help the economy on a whole. The government has started providing concessional loans. On supply side, it has made various announcements. It is putting the money in the economy with various concessional loans also. But it is a vital issue that if in the market there is no demand, who is going to borrow from the banks and when he is going to start the industry? First, there should be demand in the market. So, whatever efforts the government has made right now for rebooting the economy, they were concentrated on supply side rather than on the demand side. It is essential that now we should go for restarting from demand side. And we start from demand side means that you give income in the hands of the poorest of the poor. He is not going to save that money, he is going to spend that money. In technical terms, we can say that marginal propensity to consume. That is, if I get 100 rupees, how much of that I spend in the market? If I am a rich person, middle income people, I will save 30 to 50 rupees and I will spend only 50 rupees. But if I'm a poor person, when I get 100 rupees, I spend all 100 rupees together because my needs are not yet satisfied. So in that perspective, it is necessary that we should restart the economy right from the bottom. And so we have to look at the poorest of the poor person and we have to give money in the hands of those people. Friends, fortunately, the agricultural sector has not severely affected, but the income of the farmer has been dropped substantially because the standing crop they couldn't bring in the market. There was a wastage of the fruits, food grains, and he has lost his income. It is necessary that without waiting a longer period, all the farmers should be given a sufficient compensation for the crops that they have lost, the income that they have lost. It is the first prior responsibility of the government that the government should come up with a wider scheme of compensating the farmers who have lost their income, lost their agrarian food grain production. That needs to be restored. So first thing is that you should compensate and adopt a policy that a kind of a crop insurance for all the crops together be given, and it should be implemented effectively and without costing much to the farmers. Right now we have a crop insurance for a very few crops, and that also a number of issues, number of problems. We have to come up with providing a wider security, a kind of a social network to the farming community first, because in the unorganized sector, the farming community is suffering most. The unorganized sector workers working in various institutes, self-employed workers, they have lost their income. And so it is necessary that they should be given the first helping hand, the first rupee in their hand. And various suggestions have been given by experts. Even the Nobel Prize winner economists have suggested that the government should come up with the basic income scheme or guaranteeing the basic minimum income to the poor people. The cost for such a giant schemes, considering the continental size of the economy, is not very high. We will require 65,000 crores for providing such kind of a helping hand to the poor people. So throughout the world, there is a discussion that whenever such pandemic comes, whenever such situation comes, how the government should help them. It is necessary that this is not the last episode. This is not the last pandemic. After COVID, we may face some other kind of a virus in future. So we have to prepare in a proper way that whenever such situation comes, how we can fight with such a pandemic situation. The world is going to face a slowdown, a recession in the next year also. And so we have to be very careful about protecting our poor people. So when we are restarting the economy, first care should be given to the unorganized workers, to the farming community, and that is the first scheme, first priority that the government should give. The world is going to face number of such kind of a pandemic issues which are going to make impact on the poorest of the poor. And for that, it is suggested that whatever production is there, whatever income is there, a part of that income should be reserved to the poorer in the form of income guarantee. This is known as a scheme of basic minimum income scheme. Now, this basic minimum income scheme means that for everyone, whoever suffers income loss must be given some basic income. Say, for example, 6,000 rupees per month. This should be given to everyone, irrespective of his caste, career, location as such. We have to start with the farming community. That minimum 6,000 rupees per month should be given at least for 1 year so that they can stay safe, they can also enjoy the decent life, and they are not thrown into poverty. Friends, with the pandemic of COVID-19, nearly 40 crores people are pushed down the poverty line. This is a great severe impact on the poor people that they have lost their income. They were not having any saving at much. And so now they are facing a very serious issue. It is for them who have sufficient income, sufficient saving, staying in home, washing the hands many times, using the sanitization and keeping the safe distance. All this is for whom? This is for everyone in a medical term. But from economic point of view, the poor person cannot afford. And hence, it is necessary that we should start the economy as early as possible. We should reboot the economy by providing employment first to the unorganized workers who constitute more than 86% of the total labor force. So, we have very small labor force which is in the organized sector. In fact, a proper estimate is that 92% of our labor force is in the unorganized sector. So they don't have any social security scheme, they don't have any guarantee, they don't have tomorrow's security of income as such. And for such people, it is essential that we should provide them some kind of a helping hand. Unfortunately, we have left them on the roads. We have seen the exodus of the people after the 1947, that people were walking on the roads without any transport facility, reaching to their home with the expectation that they can see their family members. Friends, this is a black page in our history. It should not be repeated. We have to compensate these workers somehow and by providing them better tomorrow. What happened with other sectors? We have to reboot not only the economy in terms of production, not only the industrial sector, not only the agricultural sector, not only the service sector, but we have to restart the educational sector also. Friends, the pandemic corona has affected the economy in a great way, but the future of our student is now dark. Nobody knows when the schools are going to start. Nobody knows when the exams are being conducted. What will happen with the quality of the education? I'm talking about the educational access to the poor people, to the working community. Now they will not be in a position to send their child to the school. Especially the major impact will come on the girls' education. They will be thrown out of the educational system. First, we have to save them. First, we have to bring them again to the school. So restarting the school, restarting the new working life by using such social medias is now what is being attempted, but it has number of limitations. The digital technology, no doubt it has spread and it has now reached to a certain level of satisfaction, but many people, many rural people don't have access to such amenities. How we are going to help them? How we are going to reskill them? And we have to look at the issues that are being thrown from the pandemic in the educational sector. The educational sector is now derailed. The students have lost their zeal in the education, and now they are facing a kind of a pessimistic situation. And not only the student, but even the persons who are sitting in their home, they are also being psychologically traumatized, psychologically facing the problems that how they can see tomorrow. Now, this psychological fear is also part of rebooting the economy. How we can give them confidence that everything will be well and nice in a very short period of time. Friends, on a medical front, the virus is having end very shortly because of The vaccines which are being prepared in the 58 countries together, the vaccines are being prepared. And fortunately, India is also leading. But it requires number of trials. And let me tell you that the fastest vaccine which was prepared for the smallpox, it has took 4 years. So preparing or bringing the vaccine in a very short span of time is not possible. It will take time. And so we have to go for safety measures. We have to use the mask. We have to use the sanitization. We have to keep the distance safe. All these are going to be safety measures. But apart with from these safety measures, how we are going to employ people productively, profitably, and how we can look at our economy, which can research where we are expecting a V shape of recovery in the economy, which means that we are going to again face the golden era next. Now, for that, we have to make certain measures, so we have to follow certain lessons. The lessons which I have taken from the corona or from the pandemic is that our entire medical system is not adequate to face any such kind of a great impact. So the first thing is that we have to reallocate the resources for the medical field first. It is the prime responsibility of the state, of the government, to provide education, health, and income to the people. These are the prime responsibilities because life or saving a life is the prime responsibility of the state. And saving life means having the medical facilities. Apart from that, the person must have education. Otherwise, just life is not sufficient. And the person must have income. These three together makes a human life a dignified life. And so to make the life dignified, what lesson we have to take from this pandemic is that we have to reallocate the resources with the first priority to the medical sector. Friends, the cost benefit analysis explains that 1 rupee spent on medicines on medical field, it generates a social revenue of 6 rupees. So the cost benefit analysis says that we save 6 rupees in future if we put properly 1 rupee right now on medical facilities. The medical facilities are pathetic, but despite that, our doctors, nurses, Anganwadi Sevikas, all they have made a great impact to save the lives of the people. Right from the beginning, they are the corona warriors. Our police, our entire administrative system, they are putting 24 by 7 all their efforts to control the pandemic. Unfortunately, the pandemic is spreading. But we have to take the first lesson that in future, when we are rebooting the economy, in the medical field, we have to give more attention, especially in the rural areas. The medical facilities needs to be improved. And for that, government should spend a larger chunk of their budget. More than 6% of the GDP should be provided for the medical field as such. Secondly, and more importantly, what we have to give to the educational sector is that unless and until we reskill the people, we are not going to survive in the global economy. And for that, again, we have to look at the entire educational system that we have developed, the access to the poor, the availability of quality education to the poor, that should write the future of India. And so, rebooting the educational sector, along with these new techniques and tools, we have to restart the educational sector in an earliest fashion. And for that, we are preparing now. Friends, rebooting the economy means again re-empowering all the people together. Re-empowering the people means that people should have the job, employment, and unfortunately, it is not right now because of the pandemic, but before the pandemic also, Indian economy was having a recession continuously from 7% to 5%, 5% to 4%, 4% to 3.5%. These are the rates which are coming down in the last 4 years. So the pandemic has added the last straw on the camel, and that's why we are bearing the burden to a great extent. After the pandemic, we have to restore the growth again. Restoring the growth means restoring the agricultural sector, restoring the productivity, restoring the exports also, because in the export field also, we are now facing various issues. Friends, the corona has given certain opportunities also. It is not only the black page, because every difficulty offers us certain opportunities. If we look at the opportunities, one important opportunity that we have on the global scale is that the oil prices are yet at a lower level. And so we can have this opportunity that we can take the benefit of lower oil prices. Unfortunately, the government is putting very heavy duties on the oil sector. And that's why, though at a global level, the oil prices are at a lowest level, we are paying very high price. This adds to the inflation. The government is not having any source of income, and that's why they are adding more and more taxes on diesel and petrol. But this is not the way to fight the pandemic. The government should provide to whatever it is possible, however, in whatever ways it is possible, they should give that the people should benefit from that. If we lower the diesel and oil prices, when inflation comes down, the life of people becomes better. And for that, the government should reduce the heavy taxes on petrol and diesel, and it should look other resources. Government is not having only these resources. Government can go for deficit financing, and it should not worry about the level of deficit financing, because FRBM Act, that is the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, has kept certain limitations that we should not go for deficit financing more than 4% of the GDP, 3.5% of the GDP. But now in the pandemic, we have to keep aside these rules. And the first priority should give to the restoring the economy. How we can restore the economy? There is one theory that is known as a helicopter money theory. Helicopter money theory means that the government should pour the money in the economy in a great way. In fact, this was the philosophy given by Keynes. He said that dig the wells and fill up it again. Then what will happen? People will take the money from the potholes and the employment will be there. These people will come in the market, the economy will restart again. The same thing we have to do again, that when we are pouring the economy, when we are coming with a helicopter economy, where it should be given? It should be given for infrastructure. Unfortunately, our agriculture sector suffers because of inadequate infrastructure. Roads are not good, electricity is not available, and when it is available, it is not available at a reasonable rate. Storage is a big issue for us. So we need cold storages for our crops. We need a proper storage for agrarian products. So storage is another issue. Credit links needs to be provided. So all these are the issues where we can pour the money, where the helicopter money should go. It does not mean that throwing the money. It means that putting investment into various sectors, construction of roads, construction of buildings. Now, these are the traditional ways to restart the economy, and the government should come in a great way, in a heavy way, in order to reboot the economy. So, this is the way that we should go for providing better infrastructure to the rural people. Best type of the schools, best types of the buildings, all that can be constructed because we have a lot of resources. India is rich in resources, poor in management. And that's why we have to look at our resources in a great way. We have to become energy self-sufficient. Our Prime Minister, Honorable Modi sir, has given that we should become self-reliant, Atmanirbhar. Everybody and every village should think in that direction, that how we can become self-reliant in various sectors. The self-reliance that at a macro level, at a national level, should start with becoming self-reliant on energy. And for that, energy saving tools, energy saving ways, biofuels are the ways where we can concentrate. In fact, India should go for greater impact, greater efforts for biofuels. Ethanol, which can be made from the sugarcane, where we have number of problems. The sugar industry is in a crisis. Why? Because we are producing more and more sugar. And in the world market, there is no demand for sugar. At international level, the sugar prices are 20 rupees per kg and our cost is 33 rupees per kg. We are putting 2,700 liters of water in order to produce 1 kg of sugar. And what we are taking out of that? It is again adding problems. So it is better that we should divert the sugarcane for ethanol production. And once we go for ethanol production, naturally that is our need. That is energy is our need. Second and more importantly, we should reduce the area under sugarcane so that we can save the water and it will be available for other crops. Friends, 95% of the water that is being provided for the sugar, only 5% farmers are taking the sugar cane crop. So we have to look at our resources in a different way. This is one way to look at the energy sufficiency. Friends, in the international market, there is a trend that various industries are leaving from China and we are trying to get them in our country. But the result shows, the earlier experience shows that very few industries are coming to India. Why? The reasons are very clear, that yet we don't have the proper business friendly attitude. When we start the business, how many permissions we are required to take? And if the industry is interested in starting his industry in India or in China, he will consider the cost of starting the industry, the time required for that. Unfortunately, a lot of things. It has no relation. Unfortunately, we are not in a position to become competitive in a global scale. Yet there is a, what we can say, a silver line to the cloud. And I believe the Indian talent that can take away and can become the Vishwaguru or each of the world together. Why? Because we have the demographic dividend, we have the youth, we have to train them, and we should not waste this scarce on the productive as well as the dedication of the resources in such a way which can be utilized in a great way. Friends, we have two important resources, one natural resource and another human resource, which are in fact the two legs to quick march towards the progress. We have ample population, we have ample resources. Such pandemic situation provides us a new direction. No doubt it has made a great loss to our economy. No doubt it has taken heavy toll of employment. No doubt it has reduced our GDP also. And we are expecting that there is a possibility of minus 7% growth this year. What does it mean? It means that we are going to face a reduction in the national income rather than the growth. We have to stop this by restarting the economy. So instead of 7%, we bring it 5% or 4% or 3% minus growth rate. That is also a good thing. And even if we stop the reduction in the GDP, then we say that we are again going for a V shape of the recovery. V shape recovery means that after the pandemic, whatever losses we have made, we are going to come back in a fastest way. This can happen. This can happen with the proper policy framework. The proper policy framework includes number one, that we should give top priority to employment generation. Employment is the key for rebooting the economy. And employment at the grassroots level, employment at the rural level, employment at the urban level, employment at each and every level can solve the problem. So solution lies in the labor sector. Unfortunately, in labor sector, the labor reforms which are being implemented by some states like UP or MP, where they are now exploiting the workers in the name of labor reforms. They are making all the work a contract format without giving any opportunity of income to the workers. They are making 10 hours as a regular day instead of 8 hours. They are cancelling all the holidays also. Now, this is not a proper way to deal with the issue. Yes, labor is an important constituent of the economy. He is a factor of production. At the same time, he is a part of a civilized society. We We should give him his due share. And for that, we should have liberal labor laws. We should provide them whenever and wherever it is possible, all the amenities together. Friends, in the schools, we have the scheme of midday meal. In the factories also, we should start a midday meal scheme for the workers. It will provide them a better health facility, because many times what happens, the worker comes to the factory without taking the breakfast. He works there, whatever he has brought from the family, he takes as a food in the lunchtime, and the evening again he may have a problem. So if we start with providing the midday food or midday meal to the workers, we can solve one problem, that is the problem of surplus food grain that we have. Friends, our food grain is being rotten in the godowns and it is not being provided to the workers. We can restart this in a way by providing a midday meal to the workers. In fact, the big corporate sectors, they have such kind of a scheme that they provide the lunch to their workers. Free lunch is provided or highly subsidized lunch is provided. If it is not possible to provide free meal or subsidized meal, a subsidized canteen for every industrial unit can be given or can be made mandatory. So we have to restart by providing income, providing employment, providing health, and providing education. So restarting of the economy, rebooting the economy in a new direction with the opportunities which are available at a global scale. At a global scale, we have the opportunity because in many products, China is being banned. So we can take this as a benefit and we can restart manufacturing those items which were prepared or provided or exported by China. We can emerge as a competitive economy. In fact, the Atmanirbhar or self-reliant scheme that is being given by Honorable Modi is for this only, that we have to restart the economy by looking at ourselves. We have great resources, and so we have to go for this kind of a new India, which will have free from hunger, free from unemployment, free from illiteracy, and everybody will have an opportunity to share the prosperous India. So we have to write the new lessons that we have to go for this kind of a system. We have to follow a decentralized system of decision making. Unfortunately, now everything is being centralized. All the donations which are being for the Corona, COVID, are in the Prime Minister Care Fund. In fact, there is another fund that is the same fund, that is Chief Minister Fund. But we have to do more donations for this, and then we can restore the economy. We have to focus on becoming a superpower by adopting, reskilling, reshaping, and redeveloping our entire skill as a whole. So this is the way in which we can reboot the economy. For rebooting the economy, we have to follow the policy of recommend. We have to follow the monetary policy, which we can give boost to the industrial sector, agricultural sector, and a confidence to all that yes, India can come out of this. At the family level, those who are facing the problem of COVID, they should take it that yes, there is a medicine is coming out, and the best medicine that is available is your immunity system. You become immune by taking the good food, quality food, and by adopting the SMS, that is sanitization, mask, and safe distancing. That is the way that we can protect ourselves. But those who are the victims of this kind of a disease, they require more social help. It happened in some cases that people are boycotting them. People are keeping, in a way, keeping them away from their contacts. This is not a way that we have to cooperate with them. Unfortunately, they were in a problem. You may be also in a problem. So considering this, we should adopt a human approach, those who are facing the COVID issue. Government is trying to provide the medical facilities to the great extent, but there are limitations. So we have to way to look at how we can reboot the economy and how we can bring again the economy on its proper track. In the future, we are expecting double-digit growth. Prime Minister has given the assurance that the farmers' income will be doubled by 2024, but now this will be postponed. But despite all these measures, I think that restarting the economy is a challenge. Everybody must give his ideas, whatever way, model he may think in a proper way, and should be given, suggestions should be given, because we are a democratic country where the policymakers are very keen to listen you. And so I hope that this kind of a webinar will provide an opportunity to the policymakers also, that they can take some inputs and reframe their policies. In fact, all my listeners, all my participants, nearly 92 participants are being participating in this seminar. I request one and all that think about a roadmap of how we can reboot the economy, how your sector, your village, your city, your state can be rebooted. Finally, and more importantly, this is a way that we have to contribute in the pandemic situation. Our role should be not only to listen, but also to act and think in that way. I again congratulate the KE College, BK College of Chikodi for organizing such an important webinar on the issue of rebooting the economy. Now we have to live with Corona. Corona is not going to end up. Corona is always with us. Only its severity that may change. And so we are expecting the vaccine will come soon in the market. Right now, there is no ready-made medicine for that. And that's why we have to take care. And by taking care, I think that we will contribute for restarting the economy in a great way. Thank you very much.
Sir, I have got a question.
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir,
With regard to
for
the
your wonderful views on a pandemic situation. So, some of the questions are there from participants.
Please.
I will ask you. The first question is that, what is your views on Pradhan Mantri Garibi Kalyan Yojana and how to benefit it to article number 21, right to dignity?
Very important question. The government is putting its all efforts to protect the poorest of the poor. So Garib Kalyan Yojana is one part of that. Friends, poverty has increased substantially because of the pandemic. The COVID-19, as I earlier said, that 40%, 40 crores people are now pushed below the poverty line. So this Garib Kalyan Yojana, which includes providing the free or subsidized food grains and some other basic amenities also. But the more important dimension, another part of this question is that how we are going to give them dignity. The dignity comes with employment. And so, friends, along with the Garib Kalyan Yojana, the target or the objective of the Garib Kalyan Yojana should be that there should not be any Garib at all. So ending the poverty, that is the big issue. But meanwhile, we have to provide assistance to the poor. We don't have a social safety network on a larger scale in the rural area. And that's why the government has come up with such schemes, that is Garib Kalyan Yojana. All the schemes which are there implemented by the government has their own limitations. So naturally, the Garib Kalyan Yojana is one effort that has been made by the government to provide the kind of a security to the poor people. But the dignity of labor, that comes with the dignity of life, and dignity comes with your employment. Unless that comes, unless everybody get an assured job, right to work, that is most important. Just in democracy, we have right to vote. In the same way, economic democracy, right to employment is also important. And if that we are adopting, then and then only we can solve this issue. Yes.
Sir, I have got a question. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, you can ask the questions for directly.
Sir,
Yes,
with
please.
regard to the universal basic income you are mentioning,
Yes.
sir, the first important problem is identification of the beneficiaries. It is
True.
very, very difficult to have the universal basic income. You said, okay, unorganized workers, basically 6,000 rupees to be given. But identifying them will be very, very difficult. Is it possible to give it irrespective of their economic status? Just like gas subsidy we have given, those who don't want will leave it. Will it be possible to do like this, sir?
Yes. When we think about the universal basic income, as you said, the second other side of the coin is that we should stop all the subsidies together. That is number one. Number two, how to identify the poor. Now we have different schemes that are being implemented, and it is not necessary we should start immediately at the national level. We can start with some sectors like agricultural sector where the poor farmers are there. We can have the land holding, and accordingly we can identify the poorer. In the universal basic income, it is a universally accepted fact that how to identify the poor is a problem in the entire system. But self-declaration, that is one way. Another way is that many times it may happen that those who are in the need may not be getting the assistance, and those who are not needy, they may be taking the benefit of that. This is the possibility of any scheme which is meant for the poor. But there are now systems. Now we have Aadhaar, and now you have PAN, and all that linkages is there. Your income is now very much clear. And we can start with the poorest of the poor. In the Western world, people are not coming for taking the checks which are meant for the poor. They are not willing to stand in the queue and take the help from the government. So the dignity when it comes, if they have the income. So we have to start with such kind of a schemes. Right now what we are giving, 500 rupees. Now for getting the 500 rupees, the person has to travel a lot and he has to wait the entire day in the front of the bank. Then he is in a position to get 500 rupees help. So this is a very meager help that is being provided. It is necessary that right to life, how we can give right through employment and basic income right that should be given. There is one idea that this can be given to the head of the family who is a female member. So if we start the basic income scheme, making the head of the family as a women member and providing that income in her hand, that will make a lot of changes. So I feel that there are serious thoughts which are being given, and this problem of identification is there, and there are solutions also.
Sir, as you have mentioned, rightly pointed out, we have to give utmost importance to the healthcare. Many of the
Yes.
studies that we have conducted and research we have done that
Okay.
shows the public expenditure on health is very less compared to the private health expenditure.
True.
As you
Very
have
true.
pointed out, public health expenditure should be at the minimum, as you said, 6 to 7%. It has to be increased. We have neglected, and this at pandemic situation we are remembering it. Right? Sir? Thank you very much. I am Dr. B. Gopal Singh from Mysore.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, sir. One more question is there from participant side. What is the role of a private sector in a financial burden is a very high on the part of a government?
True. In fact, we look the private sector in different dimensions. Basically, if you look at the corporate sector, the CSR, corporate responsibility funds that they have been providing by every corporate house they have given. The corporate sector or the private sector can help in a great way simply by one way, that is providing employment to the workers, number one. Number two, private sector itself requires government assistance, not only in terms of assistance, but the government should permit the business community to do the business in a better way. So business environment that can be improvised, and the rules and regulations which are being tied up and which are draconian rules and regulations can be reduced. And so private sector can act in a great way in fighting with the corona.
Thank you, sir. Any question from participants? Any other questions? Directly you can unmute your device and directly ask your question to Professor Kakri, sir.
As you have pointed out, CSR, the entire CSR amount is not equal. Always instead of depending upon the government, it's true that the propensity to consume has to be increased.
True.
But the initiation should come as per JMK from the government. If the government makes the investment and the government makes the initiative, automatically it comes to the private sector also. So CSR should be completely utilized for the benefit for whom it is made. You have rightly pointed out, sir. I support you in this point. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your valuable information, sir, Professor Kakde.
Thank
Now
you.
I request Dr. S.S. Madhur, madam, to propose a vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Sir,
Gratitude is
your
a sign.
clarification was very nice,
Gratitude
very
is
beautifully presented. Very
Thank you.
nicely presented. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gratitude is a sign of noble souls. With this, I feel honored and privileged to get an opportunity to propose vote of thanks on these memorable days. First of all, I express my deep sense of gratitude and thank on behalf of our college. I convey my deepest regards and heartfelt thanks to our today's resource person, Professor V.B. Kakde. Thank you, sir. I express my deep sense of gratitude to our principal, Professor U.R. Rajput, for his unending support. Thank you, sir. I express my sincere thanks to IQAC coordinator, Dr. B.G. Kulkarni, for his support. Thank you, sir. I must mention my deep senses of gratitude to Head of Department of Economics, Professor J.S. Barangior, for your guidance and support. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Mr. M.A. Vadi, our organizing secretary of the webinar, for supporting. Thank you, sir. I thank all the teaching and non-teaching staff of our college for their support. Lastly, I thank all the participants for their presence. Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much.